Hello everyone, this is Jeremy Daniels, and I'm coming in with another World of Warships video. It's been a while since I've posted up one of these, well, just how it goes. Life is a long stretch, and plenty of things that going on to have to keep my attention. Now this match, I am captaining the USS Texas in the glorious US flag camo for her. I'm also accompanied by Macross84, good friend and another member of the Dark Fin clan.
Battle starts.
And Mac is just spreading the good word about the Dark Fin's belief about how every ship is its own self-guided torpedo, and I'm expressing love or happiness over I'm in my Texas, AA spec, and there are carriers. Looks like two Langleys on the enemy team versus our Langley and our Hosho. The Hosho is pink, but, well, stuff happens. Ah, yes, the good old horn. So we just have a little bit of chat, a little bit of humor going on in chat, especially Porch Monkey up there. Someone on the enemy team was giving out friendly advice.
Good luck, everyone.
If you press Shift T, you will charge your horn back up. Yeah, no. So, Porch Monkey in the Clemson, he just dropped one of his smoke charges. Another humorous one is to say, press Shift T to see your stats, or see the team stats. But, yeah. Please don't fall for that, Pete. Well, if you do, at least be like Porch Monkey here, where he's taking it in good humor. So this is standard battle. We have a lot of destroyers. 3 on the enemy team, 4 on the allied team. Enemy has 2 cruisers, while Mac is the sole cruiser on our team, and then a pair of carriers each side, with the remainder 5 ships being battleships. Myself in the Texas, a New York, Iron Duke and a Koenig, and then an Orion. So tier 5 heavy. Which means those carriers are probably not going to have a very fun time. See that the carrier play is already getting into full blast here. One of the enemy carriers sending a strike against the Orion, but having a Congo, a New York, and the Iron Duke close at hand is kind of spoiling things just a bit. I'm sitting here. I see a juicy Phoenix. Give him what it's for. Let's see if I get anything here. Nope. Bunch of overpins. He wasn't fully broadside, but those were pretty decent shots when you get down to it. He's turning and running away. I'm not going to be able to get another good volley off on him before he stealths up or gets behind cover. A little bit too angled there. Not a really good shot. So, I got myself the Koenig over yonder. Take minor damage, but my shells are flying true, and yeah, not very good result. Which, I'm sure a lot of you are probably going, JD, why are you showcasing this? This is not really a... this isn't sizing up to be a stellar match for you. Although, that Nicholas up yonder just suicided. So there goes our destroyer advantage, and our the first blood. So they're up on ships, up on points, and now we are even on destroyers. Yeah. Don't go full kamikaze within the first 4 minutes of the match, people. It's not going to end well for you. Yeah, there's a big old cluster of battleships up yonder. Langley was spotted up that way as well for a moment, but he's kind of hidden again. We just lost another destroyer over on our west flank. So this is not looking terribly exceptional at the immediate moment, but yeah, because now we're actually down 3 destroyers. I missed when the 3rd one ended up dying, but well, the Yin Yang didn't get a whole lot done either. So the enemy team has 3 kills to our none. They're they're over 200 points ahead. And now they're starting to press in on our cap. I'm also getting a little freaked out because, hey, there's a Minakaze coming in there. Oh, and there's planes. Oh, and there's 3 battleships that are not aiming at me, surprisingly. I asked Mac to focus on the Minakaze, which he does. Unfortunately, Mac just went behind an island, so he's a little bit out of position. I get, actually, well, another 5,000 damage there. Nothing too great. But we have full-blown gone into defense mode. We are outnumbered. They are closing in from both flanks. Well, both flanks and through the center. And we have gotten pushed into a corner of the map. This is not looking terribly good. Oh, and about this point I realize, hey, enemy planes are coming in. Focus them. And I just start eating them up because this is Texas. Ooh, but I take a nasty volley. I believe that was from the enemy New York. But at least I don't have to worry about the dive bombers because I ate them all up. I have a nice little up there with the Orion. It happens. Yeah, and that wasn't too upset one way or the other. He didn't freak out, which is how it's supposed to go. And I'm having to go ahead and track my guns over to my over onto my left, well, port side. And I have a little bit of a brown pants moment here because, oh crud, it's a Minakaze. Actually get a really good hit on that New York considering that was just my front 2 turrets. No one's aiming at me for the immediate moment. The Minakaze is behind the island there, so that's at least a slight benefit. I'm trying to get a good volley off on this New York, but he disappears, so I'm kind of out of luck there. And spotted by planes. From over yonder, going after our ships over there on the western flank, trying to hold back the enemy from pushing in hard from there. So while the enemy were closing in, they did not really exploit pushing down the eastern flank as much as they should have. It's like this, and Mac just got the first kill out of anybody on our team. Yeah, this was not looking very good from the outset. We're down 2. We have 3 destroyers sunk, and 1 of the battleships. Oh, and there you go. Well, no, never mind. I just updated. So our Iron Duke is down, which I wish I could say that was surprising, but unfortunately, the British battleships do tend to attract the more, or the less skilled players, it seems, because of their propensity to just HE spam. There's some shells out at the New York. Actually got a decent little chunk of damage there, but still only 3 shells hit. So I've been able to rack up a moderate amount of damage, but damage itself doesn't win games. However, here, that New York is straight lining, and he's not paying attention to where he's going. I recognize this. He beaches himself. Just as my shells, or just as my rifles reload. I've already hit the brakes. Slowed up. And boom! So, we're now only down 2 destroyers instead of 2 destroyers and a battleship.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, he was probably in deep trouble anyway because he was pretty heavily broadside to me no matter what. And between my maneuvering and my adjusting of speed, I actually managed to avoid a lot of the incoming fire. Now, Mac is still around at the moment, which is impressive given that he is in Königsberg, which is oh, and we just lost Porch Monkey. Sadness. So we have no destroyers, they have 2. I'm putting my shells out, trying to peg this kamikaze, because he needs to die. I've also called it out to Mac at this point, who is coming under some intense fire from the Koenig and the Iron Duke. Emil Bertin, not so much. It looks like he's focusing more on our battleships and the carrier. Well, one of our carriers, I should say. And he's parked, so I go in and I toss a couple of shells at him, expecting him to accelerate. Spread the rest of my rifles around, just hoping to get some decent hits on them. Overpin, meh. Another overpin, and another overpin. Oh, 4 overpins. Lovely. Almost stationary, broadside target, and I get nothing. Now, what I am doing here is I'm trying to maneuver to make sure the Koenig and the Bretagne have islands between me and them. Now, I hear my AA guns go off. I glance up because I am a bit ashamed to say that I was surprised at them going off. I should have been paying a little better attention, but it all worked out. It was only fighters, so I got another couple of plane kills. I cut speed so I don't run into Mac too much. Unfortunately, he cut speed too, but we're able to make it work. And this Koenig. Broadside coming around at close range, and 3 full penetrations, 1 overpin, and somehow it's only worth 4,000 damage. Mac and I kind of bump each other here. I go into full reverse. He goes full ahead. He was apologizing, I was apologizing. Stuff happens. Thankfully, because of the way that adjusted, that kept me from having to worry about the incoming fire there. And it kept him from running into incoming fire as well. Now, that's more like it. 13k hit, but that Koenig wiped out Mac. However, our allied carrier, or our surviving carrier, the Hosho, got a really good hit on the Koenig. He launched his after-turrets at me, having used his 4 turrets to take down Mac, but sadly for him, German battleship dispersion. Right now, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not going to, well, I've pretty much decided that the Iron Duke, I'm going to leave him to somebody else. He's on low enough health. We're not the Iron Duke, the Koenig. I'm leaving him to the Orion while I get ready to focus on this Iron Duke coming around broadside. The Iron Duke, HE spamming. Does 4,000 damage. I do double that. I'm still turning around hard in. I believe, yeah, I've reversed the rudder around now. Trying to angle back out again. Supposed to bring my rifles to bear, and to make myself a harder target. Like this, it's even a chance that some of his shells will... Yep, he's still spamming HE. Oh no, it's a fire, and I'm repairing. Yeah, he does another 4,000. I do almost 20k. Well, just shy of 18,000. People, spamming HE in battleships, even the British HE, is not a good idea. So, we're still down in points. They still have 1 extra ship over us. They are capping our, they're capping us out. And now the Iron Duke is basically turning around to focus on the Orion. Now, the Iron Duke had come around on pretty much full health, and he, at the time, I think had more health than myself and the Orion had put together, even with me healing. Now, he's got less health than that Orion. Well, now a little bit more, but not a whole lot more. But, yeah, between myself, the Orion, and the carrier, all working in concert to take him down, he's not long for this match. A very well done cross drop, and the Hosho polishes him off. Now, I'm detected by planes, so I'm having to be a little careful, but I have not had priority target pop up just yet. Bretagne gets spotted. Go ahead and swing myself around. He's still not aiming at me, focusing a little bit too much on that Orion. Of course, he has, again, about as much health as the both of us put together. Unfortunately, I have pretty close to his broadside. And there's the high caliber. So, that was quite delectable. And now I'm, at first, get a little bit panicked because incoming torpedo bombers. I've already taken some pretty nasty hits with HE, so it's knocked out some of my, some of my anti-air. Almost halved my mid-range. But these are tier 4 planes. I keep turning in. The Britain actually dunked his shots as I was still pretty heavily angled. So that was a nice little misplay by him. But he still has a pretty decent chance of taking out the enemy Orion. Still, between myself, the Orion, and the carrier, we have a better than even shot of dropping him. And since I had gotten his attention with slapping him pretty hard, and the Orion actually had a nice solid chunk of land between him and the Britain, I gave him a nice reprieve. Detected by planes again, the Britain is aiming at me. Still have that Phoenix pretty much off my bow on the west. We've almost recovered, or we have the same number of ships left, and we're actually pretty close in points. This has gone from a very lackluster match to far more of a even shot. Make sure I'm not going to run aground, swing my rifles back around on the Britain. And it's just a case of waiting for this to come up. The Orion, to his credit, he was not just throwing HE. He knew when to swap to armor piercing. And that Orion, I just gave him all sorts of props. He was playing well, he was using his position, and he basically had to go toe-to-toe with 3 different Tier 5 battleships. With backup, granted. But 3 different Tier 5 battleships getting knocked down to under 8,000 health, and he still managed to pull it out. So, very well played by Viking 1959. Britain, again, goes down to the Hosho. More than happy to let him get that kill. See here. Our Koenig over yonder does have 3 kills, so he played very well. And, yeah, so at this point, we actually have the advantage. My main concern now was that the Phoenix had turned hard to the east and was approaching using this island here as cover to try to drop torpedoes on me in a ambush. Especially as I get spotted by planes there. The Hosho's out of fighters and he's sorting his bomber, or his torpedo bombers anyway. But doesn't matter, the Phoenix decides to shoot at me, give away his position, and splat! And at this point, we've just about... Well, somebody said that we have already won. I'm not betting on that, just in case I do want to get into the enemy cap. Either to peg myself to Langley or the Hosho, or, well, just to make sure that we're keeping them from gaining more points. Extend that lead in case the carriers do somehow manage to drop the Orion or our Hosho. Spotted by a ship. It has to be one of the carriers. And both the Langleys are slower than me, which is humorous when you consider how slow the US battleships are. 60 seconds left. I'm in the cap. This is basically this match is pretty much over. Still, high caliber in a 4-5 match, getting almost 140,000 damage. I don't believe I have the end cap screen on this. Oh, and look, there's the Langley. I'm only gonna get time for one volley. Even if I were to be able to fire twice, the second set of shells would not reach before time ran out. Shots out. And there's Confederate, pushing me up to 143,000 damage. That is not something you normally see in a 4-5 match, nor in a Texas. Anyway, have a good day, folks. Catch you around next time.